Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Brommel, and today I'm trying something new. Today I'm not playing music, but I'm going to look at Ren's music and videos and show where you can find references to Kubrick. Ren himself once said that his lyrics and videos were influenced by people like Quentin Tarantino, Stanley Kubrick and Martin McDonagh. However, Kubrick isn't always viewed uncritically these days. He was an extreme perfectionist and his treatment of actors was sometimes perceived as ruthless. Some scenes were repeated over 100 times until he was satisfied. Kubrick often pushed the actors to their physical and mental limits so that the scenes would appear realistic and authentic. For example, filming the staircase scene in The Shining in 1979 took several weeks. In the end, Shelley Duvall was physically and mentally exhausted, and a desperate reaction to Jack was not acted but real. Let's have a look.
If I were to fail to live up to my responsibilities, has it ever occurred to you? Has it?
Stay away from me.
Why?
I just want to go back to my room.
Why?
But Kubrick was also merciless with himself. He invested an extreme amount of time to prepare scenes. He slept very little during filming. He was the first one on the set in the morning and the last one to leave at night. He did everything to create what he believed to be a perfect film. And here I think Kubrick, Ren and Van Gogh are similar in a way. And I mentioned Van Gogh here because Ren's as yet unfinished masterpiece Vincent's Tale is intertwined with Van Gogh's work. In this video I will say Van Gogh the way it's pronounced in English, even so I know that's not correct. In German we say Van Gogh, but that's not correct either. In Dutch it should be correctly pronounced like Van Gogh. But back to the story. For all three, art was the most important thing in their lives, and their own well-being and health was not that important. For Ren we can see that in the recent behind-the-scenes video for Starry Night. He was really in bad health and his immune system has attacked one of his eyes and he was in pain. But he kept filming as long as he could, and then he had to go straight to the hospital. He was lucky that he did not lose the sight on that eye.
Counter as we get you to a doctor now.
Nah, it's not hurting enough now.
Like we do everything tomorrow. It's not hurting enough, I don't think.
No, it's not hurting enough now. Famous words of our sick boy. Only months later he was able to continue filming, after his stem cell therapy and other treatments in Mexico. We will come back to Starry Night later in this video. And here's another quote that shows what I mean, this time from his sister Leah.
That right there, people, is my brother practicing day and night, literally. I'm the gospel of it, let me tell you. He's out there getting his body ready for the cold, for his music video on Sunday. That right there is someone who has dedicated their, pretty much his everything to his music. I can tell you that.
It's from the behind-the-scenes video from Self-Portrait, and I think it says it all. As far as I know, Self-Portrait has no references to Kubrick. But now let's get started. There are fewer songs and videos than I thought, and the Kubrick references are not always that clear. I'll start with the oldest song, Heretic, from August 2020. Here it's clear. In the second last verse, in the video this is more or less in the middle, we find the following lines.
For music is too sick, I'm shining like Kubrick. My method is clockwork or full metal dude with my eyes on the prize. Do you obey, do you abide?
Here we have not only the name of Stanley Kubrick, but also the film reference to Kubrick's film The Shining, starring the great Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. We will return to both The Shining and Jack Nicholson later. Next up is a reference to Clockwork Orange from 1971, a film that I admit I'm not very familiar with, but we'll come back to that later as well. And finally, another film reference, this time to Full Metal Jacket, Kubrick's 1987 anti-war film. In the music video, you can also see a cartoon version of Ren wearing a steel helmet similar to the one from the film poster. And that's it for references in Heretic. Opinions differ as to whether the next video is influenced by Kubrick's Clockwork Orange. It's about Illest of Our Time, which Ren released in March 2023. The Renegades are divided on this as there are no explicit references in either the lyrics or the video, but I can understand why some might see parallels to Clockwork Orange. Some see similarities in the stark industrial hall in Ren's video, the group of young violent guys and the staged violence, which is also reflected in the language. Here we see a violent scene from Clockwork Orange. Let's compare it to one from Illest of Our Time.
Get it poppin', hot rockin'. I'm Freddy Krueger, I'm chopping. I turn it up to 11, the demi-Gordon of Oppin'. The strangest thing, I'm the boss. When the danger lingers, I'm plotting. Sweet like a spoonful of sugar, because I'm merry like poppin'.
And we have the protagonist's vulnerability. In the video, Ren, in the film Alex the Large. The website The Vault of Ren also draws a connection between the word "my brother" in the line "I don't feel so hot, my brother" and the Jukes from Clockwork Orange. In the film, the Jukes are Alex the Large and his 3 friends, his brothers, with whom he commits his acts of violence, but Alex also beats them up himself sometimes. Ren's white outfit in Illest of Our Time certainly fits with the Jukes. What doesn't fit, however, is that there are so many of them and that they aren't all dressed in white. The Jukes, by the way, speak a fictional slang called Nadzet, which is based on the Russian. And the word Juk or Drug means friend in Russian. But in the context of Clockwork Orange, it implies a deep criminal bond. Interestingly, there is a similar sounding word in Welsh, Drug, which means evil. Jukes are therefore evil friends. I think that fits very well. The next song, or rather the video, isn't so clear-cut regarding Stanley Kubrick's influence either. It's Animal Flow, which came out a few weeks after Illest of Our Time. In a comment under the video, Ren writes, "The hallway to the apartment looked like something out of a Kubrick film, and I instantly knew I had to film there. I kept thinking of the movie Eyes Wide Shut." End of quote. The first thing that comes to my mind when I see Ren's video is the masquerade ball from Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. In the Animal Flow video, everyone except Ren wears a mask. And Ren seems to be a strange mixture of Willy Wonka from the Chocolate Factory and Alex the Large from A Clockwork Orange. Both Willy Wonka and Alex the Large carry a cane, with Alex also using it to beat the Jukes sometimes. Ren's white outfit is more like the Jukes, even so he's missing the jockstrap. Willy Wonka, on the other hand, is rather colorful, but Alex is also colorful at the beginning of Clockwork Orange. What also fits with Clockwork Orange, of course, are the dark lyrics of Animal Flow, full of violence. "You're in the mind of a cannibal king where chaos and anarchy roam." However, Willy Wonka, at least in the original with Gene Wilder, is also very chaotic and has some subtly violent moments. There's also one clear reference to Kubrick and one that I'm not sure about. The first is the bicycle that comes toward Ren in the hallway.
I'm an impossible foe, never slowing, just growing and flowing with intricate lines. Yes, I will dig in my teeth when I bite like a beast. Blood, I drink it like wine.
It definitely reminds me of the scene from The Shining, where little Danny rides his tricycles through the corridors of the Overlook Hotel. By the way, The Shining was also one of the first films to make extensive use of the Steadicam, which had just been invented by Garrett Brown. The scene with Danny on his tricycle was filmed by Garrett Brown himself from a wheelchair using the Steadicam. Unfortunately, I could only find this small photo of it. Garrett Brown continued to develop his camera even during filming The Shining. And Brown said, "That film cemented the usefulness of the Steadicam for all time." I just learned this from Sam Liberty and Scott Tomaso from Hollywood Producers React. And I mention it because Ren also uses the Steadicam frequently and brilliantly in his videos. It's often operated by Beau Pritchard James, who is a fantastic Steadicam operator. Big shout out to him. The second scene in Animal Flow comes shortly after the bicycle scene. 3 women crawling on the floor and pull and tug at Ren.
Animal flow, out in the wilderness I will be king. Sit on my throne, I'm the Lord of the Rings. Out on my own, I'm a terrible thing. Animal skins over my shoulders like bling. They will be clothing my sin.
In my opinion, this could be a reference to Eyes Wide Shut. The next song is a newer one. It's the prologue from Vincent's tale titled Sunflowers. In that video, Ren gives the famous Kubrick stare. The Kubrick stare was not invented by Kubrick but perfected, and with his film Clockwork Orange it became popular. Here you can see Malcolm McDowell as Alex DeLarge. Kubrick also used it in other films, for example Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance in The Shining, or Vincent D'Onofrio as Private Leonard Lawrence in Full Metal Jacket, and in a slightly lighter form Nicole Kidman as Alice Herford in Eyes Wide Shut, or Keir Delay as Dr. David Bowman in 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was later picked up by other directors and actors. Here we see Keanu Reeves as John Wick, or Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, and Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator. However, Kubrick was not the first one to use this type of representation of madness. A similar scene can already be found in Alfred Hitchcock's film Psycho from 1960. Here Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates in Psycho. And one of the oldest scenes of this type dates back to 1956, and I almost fell over when I saw that it was done by Kirk Douglas in the biopic about Vincent van Gogh called Lust for Life. How crazy is that? Here we see the beautiful self-portrait with Kirk Douglas as Vincent van Gogh. And here the circle closes, from Ren via Kubrick to Van Gogh, or vice versa. And the last video I want to talk about is Vincent's tale Starry Night. Here I found 2 more obvious and 1 hidden, perhaps even unintentional reference to Kubrick. In Act 1, you see the prisoners sitting in a circle with a therapist or social worker or something like that. In many comments and reactions I've heard or read references to Van Gogh's painting Prisoner's Round, which we can see here. And the similarities are very clear, even so they are walking in the painting and not sitting as in the video. The just released behind the scenes video for Starry Night also briefly shows the Van Gogh painting. We can therefore assume that Ren knew about it and that the similarities are no coincidence. And now for the indirect reference. Kubrick was also inspired by the painting for a scene in Clockwork Orange. In the film, the similarities to the painting are even clearer. And the next reference is again to The Shining. It's this short scene from Starry Night.
Run, little liar.
The scene reminds me of the famous scene from The Shining, where Jack smashes the bathroom door with an axe.
Here's Johnny!
I think the scenes are quite similar. And last but not least, the great Act 4 of Wren's Starry Night, Professor Percy Price. Professor Price describes a method to repair Vincent. In the lyrics, it says,
It aims to recorrect the parts of you we know are defect.
This is exactly like in Clockwork Orange, where this iconic and crazy image of the treatment of Alex comes from. In Clockwork Orange, the method is called Ludovico technique and works differently, but it has the same goal, to repair the violent person. Ludovico, by the way, is derived from Ludwig van Beethoven's first name. Let's take a quick look at two short snippets, first from Clockwork Orange.
This vicious young hoodlum will be transformed out of all recognition.
And a similar statement from Starry Night.
You see, we're part of a new program. It's a government scheme. We're making gentlemen from criminals, and that's what you'll be.
And there are more similarities in the lyrics. Clockwork Orange.
He'll do.
Well, fine. We could still look at C-Block.
No, that's enough. He's perfect.
And from Professor Price.
Guards! Guards! This one will do! Yes, this one's fine. Take him away.
And one last little detail. Professor Price is wearing an orange tie and an orange pocket square. Also, it's a bit odd that the pocket square is tucked into the lab coat. In Clockwork Orange, there's a scene where Dr. Brennan, Dr. Brodsky's assistant, wears something similar. So, that's it, Renegades. I hope you enjoyed it and I didn't bore you. Perhaps you even saw something new. Feel free to leave a comment and a like. In the description you'll find some links to the sources I used. If you haven't already, go to Wren's channel, subscribe and watch his videos. It's really worth it. So long, your Dr. Brummel.